Her smile lights up a dark room. Her touch is gentle, and yet she is fierce. Her wisdom leaves me in awe and longing for just one more word. She is love personified. Mommy. Mommy is 89 years old, and she is living with dementia. And while this happens to other families all across the world, this was never supposed to happen to my mommy. But if I can be honest, there were signs. We see signs. We ignore the signs, right? And for some reason, I still feel like I was robbed. I was caught off guard. One day, Mommy decided that she wanted to go shopping. She got in the car, drove to the store, walked in, selected her items, made her purchase, and then she went back to the car. Easy enough, right? She unlocked the door and entered on the passenger side. And then she sat there. She sat there waiting and waiting and waiting until she realized at some point she had driven there alone. She picked up the phone and she called my sweet sister. And they both literally laughed out loud. This was the beginning of our new normal. We plan for everything: college, marriage, our families, careers, home ownership, vacations, retirement. We even plan for death. But what happens when we fail to plan for senior care? For the purpose of this conversation, I'm going to change it up, though. I'm not going to refer to it as senior care. We're going to call it the in-between. I'm sure you're curious, Jasilika, what exactly is this thing called the in-between? Great question. The in-between is that period of life after retirement, but before death. It's that phase of life that's less talked about it because no one wants to talk about it. It's not a fun subject, but it is a necessary subject. Most of us are caught off guard. Imagine the phone rings and you learn that mom has fallen for the 5th time, and this time she landed in the hospital. Dad suffered from a stroke. And now he requires 24-hour care. And then Grandma was wandering around the neighborhood, not knowing where she was going or where she was. Ill-prepared and unsure of what to do, we sweep it under the carpet, hoping, praying, wishing that this will never happen again. Until it does. Because it does. Although the in-between is not at the forefront of our minds, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't prepare for it. Did you know that 70% of Americans 65 years old or older will one day need assistance? Memory care, some type of skilled services like being in a nursing home. This is real. This is life, but we don't talk about it. I get it. The in-between can be scary, right? The in-between can be overwhelming. The in-between can be downright mean. It rips us of or robs us of what life was And it forces us to embrace the now. That mom and dad are a little bit slower than what they were. That cognitively there's a decline, and I'm not sure if this is normal aging or not. And so some decisions, some really hard, tough, but necessary decisions have to be made. Jasilika, where do I start? What great news is I help families who are trying to navigate this thing called the in-between. Together, we have conversations. I learn their stories. And then together, we devise a plan. It becomes a partnership. Let me tell you, the planning process, though, is hard, and I understand why we avoid it. Because who wants to hear from their child, the one that they raised, the one that they loved and nurtured, disciplined, sent off to college, that you're getting older and it's no longer safe for you to stay at home? Who wants to hear that? But we need to have those conversations. As hard as they may seem, they are necessary. They are needed. Did you know that assisted living monthly on average costs $4,300 per month? And that if your loved one suffers from dementia, any form of dementia, on average, you're going to spend $5,375 per month. How many of you are ready to do this? You're ready to pay for mom's care? You're ready to ask those hard but necessary questions? Have you planned for senior care? Because it all begins with a simple conversation. But I want you to understand in your role, though, right? Parent, child. We still need to be respectful. We still need to do this with love. We still need to make sure that they know what they feel matters. But we need to get down to the nitty-gritty. We need to understand their finances. We need to know what their plan is in the event that it's no longer safe for them to be at home. We need to know where those legal documents are. Wills, power of attorneys, guardianships. These are conversations that we need to have, and yet we don't have it. Recently, I worked with a couple, oh my goodness, beautiful couple. They've been married for 50 years. Unfortunately, the husband was diagnosed with dementia. It progressed pretty rapidly, and she had to make a hard decision. Is it safe for him to be at home even if I'm here? Can I manage this on my own? The answer was no. She couldn't. So she sold the family home, moved in with her son, his wife, and their children. 3 generations, better known as the sandwich generation, living all together under one roof. Sadly, this happens every day. I know we think we want to save mom and dad. Let's think, though. Financially, can we handle it? Emotionally, can we handle it? Caregiving is not an easy job. Can you handle it? I know another family that I actually talked to this week, and I thought I'd bring them in on this, right? The family called me, and they were overwhelmed, like many families are. Mom was diagnosed with dementia, but she already said, listen, when I can't remember, I still want to stay in my home, but when I can't remember, if you have to, then you can move me. Well, mom's memory was not the best, but that's what happens with dementia, right? But she was wondering. She was losing things. She was making financial mistakes. And the family knew that they had to act quickly. So they did. The son decided, okay, I'll bring mom to the house. I'll take care of mom. Little did he know, taking care of mom was not an easy task. So as soon as she moved in a week later, guess what? Mom was moving out and moving into memory care. Unfortunately, my family was stuck in the in-between. We didn't talk finances. We didn't talk wills. We didn't talk POAs. We just didn't have a plan. But what we did know is that we had to have one. We had to create one. And so we did. Mommy is safe. Mommy is loved. But you know what? I want your mommy to be safe. And I want your mommy to be loved. And I want you to create a plan for your mom. But while you're making a plan for mom or for dad or for your grandma or auntie or whomever it is, consider making a plan for yourself. Because one day, it could be your children who are having to plan for your in-between. Thank you.